Sadnam, yogis and yoginis, welcome back to another video. This is a video that is part of a series of videos on mantras. If you haven't watched the other one, I recommend you go now and watch it. And in that video, we saw the power of sound and how sound is able to create this whole universe and everything that contains, and how something that is intangible creates something that is tangible, something that is visible, something that has a material existence that we can perceive with our eyes and we can touch with our fingers. So we talked about that, and we also talked about how, because sound has an effect, creates a certain effect on matter, the way that the mantras are created, those sounds of those mantras have specific effect on us. And that's why we don't translate the mantras. And so if we don't translate them, we want to use them in the original alphabet, and that would mean generally Sanskrit or Gurumukhi in the tradition from Kundalini Yoga, as taught by Yogi Bhajan, and Sanskrit in the older tradition of any other mantra from the Hindu tradition. So it's relevant to look at those alphabets and to see what are the sounds contained in them, and also that will make it very evident how is that different from English or Spanish or any other language, because all these languages come from the same family of languages, the Proto-Indo-European, like we were talking in the other video. However, some languages have more emphasis on some sounds, some have more emphasis in other sounds, and actually some languages don't even have a certain number of sounds. And we will see that, especially when we come to consonants. Today we're going to start with the vowels. But so we're going to start there, yeah? So first of all, let's just get acquainted ourselves with the Sanskrit alphabet in general, and I will compare it to the Gurumukhi alphabet just to notice how similar they are. But first I will show the Sanskrit alphabet, which is the one that I studied most, so that's the one that I'm more familiar with. Let me share the screen as usual, and here we go. So the Sanskrit alphabet, as I said, it was not really invented, it was discovered by the kind of sounds that we can create. And we can see these sounds reflected in this table. This is the way it is generally drawn, the alphabet. And it separates the vowels and the consonants. Then there is these semivowels, which are special, yara, lava, and the sibilants, aspirates, and then a few compound sounds. Don't worry about this. This will be relevant for later. But we will see it also. We will see it all in this course, slowly, little by little. Today we're going to focus on the vowels and as differentiating them from consonants and from semivowels. The idea is that in vowels, the tongue is not touching the upper palate. So you are speaking like ah, eh. The tongue is not touching anything. When you are doing a consonant, t, d, p, b, m, either the tongue is touching the upper palate, or the lips are touching, or something is happening in the mouth that is not just completely open and the air is flowing through it. In the vowels, the air is flowing, and with the shape of the mouth and the upper palate, the throat, we create these different sounds, which we differentiate as different vowels. And the semivowels is when the tongue gets very close to the some surface, but it doesn't really touch, but the effect is like ya, like in ya, yeah? It's not totally touching, but the effect is quite significant, and it's not really like a vowel, but it is similar to a vowel in some way, and it's not really like a consonant, but it's similar to the consonant. And those semivowels are actually really important, and they are connected to bija mantras, which is a question that often comes up, especially when you are beginning yoga. What are bija mantras and bija sounds? So we will touch upon this in the following video. This video is on vowels, the next one will be on semivowels, and then we will go into consonants, which is very deep, a bit more complex, but super interesting topic. That doesn't mean that this one is not interesting as well, but let's go back to this one. This one is vowels today. So I will just first of all share again the image of the Sanskrit alphabet, and I will just read them. And again, remember, I am Spanish. I have a strong Spanish accent. Excuse me. So it would be best if you could actually learn the proper pronunciation of all these sounds with a native speaker of these languages. I will do my best, and please forgive any errors I have in my pronunciation, because I am not an expert in this. I just studied it, but I'm not a grammarian. Not even grammarian. This is not grammar. This is more, I don't know how to say it. I'm not an expert in this, okay? So we have the A, and this A with a little slash on top. Unfortunately, you cannot see it very well in this paper, but it's like an A with a dash over it. So this means a long A. A, I, U, and then I, O, au, ah. A, I, U, I, O, au, ah. Okay. So these are the 12 basic sounds which consider vowels. Then there are other sounds which are also kind of connected to this, but we will leave it here. We don't want to complicate things too much. And just for those of you who want to apply this to Kundalini Yoga, which when we use the mantras which are in Gurumukhi, I just want to compare this diagram. I'm gonna put it like this. This is another, you can find this in the internet. This one, I have made this one myself, but this one, you can find it in the internet. And again, we can see in the Sanskrit alphabet here, A, I, U, E, I, O, au, ah. These are the other sounds that I said they were connected. These are a cerebral R, and with retroflex sound is a bit of a complex term, but R and L are letters which are linked to the semivowels. So we will cover those when we go to here, semivowels R and L. It's just that there are a few ways of pronouncing these sounds. So don't worry about this for the moment, yeah? So these are the vowels. And if we look, this is the structure I was mentioning: vowels, consonants, semivowels, sibilants, and complex conjunct consonants. If we go to the Gurumukhi alphabet, and you can find this one on the internet as well, actually in Signet, then you have the same structure with vowels, yeah? And then there's the consonants here. And then we have semivowels. And then we have other sounds, like some Persian letters, which, because of the geographical situation of the area of the Punjab, they were very influenced from different cultures, and there's some Persian sounds coming into here. And yeah, but it's basically the same structure. Now, why is this structure created this way? As I said, vowels is because the tongue is not touching anywhere. And then the consonants, when we go to consonants, we will see that it's very special why every line is where it is and why every sound is after the other. It is very specific. It's nothing random. I don't actually know why in the ABC, ABDC, EFG, HIAK, LMN, we have all learned this, but why LM? Why not ML or MP or MB? Why in that order? I don't really know. Maybe if you know why, please write in the comments and enlighten us. It could be a very interesting topic to explore. I've never done research on this, and I'm just talking about it because it just occurred to me now in my head. I could have maybe done some research before putting it into this video. But anyway, in the Sanskrit, it's very specific why every letter is before or after the others. And we will see that when we go to the consonants. So as you have seen, the vowels is the same in Gurumukhi, is the same in Sanskrit. It may be slightly pronounced slightly different, but it's something that is not too significant. And again, if you want to learn how to pronounce it properly, just find a Punjabi teacher, Gurumukhi teacher, and learn from, or a Sanskrit one, and learn directly. Okay. So, vowels. Vowels are very special. Vowels and consonants, they separate each other in the way that, metaphysically speaking, it's considered that vowel is what gives life to the sounds, and consonants is what gives structure. We will see, because the way the consonants are constructed is because of the shape our mouth is constructed, and that's what constructs the vibration of the sounds that you are creating with your words. While vowels, they are implicit in any sound that you make, even with consonants. What I mean by this is that even if you want to make the sound T, the T, the letter T, you cannot do T without E. Even if you try to remove it, T, you have right? So you want to do any sound, P, it has right? So any sound with consonants implicitly has a vowel in it. Without a vowel, there can be no consonant. There can be no consonant sound. So the vowels is what actually gives life to the vibration. And so when we look at this Sanskrit alphabet, or any alphabet, let's write it down. Let's do it by, I will write on a paper. Okay. So let's say, for example, we want to see the word Satnam. Yes? And we are doing Sa, Ta, Na, Ma. Because this is a mantra we use very often in Kundalini Yoga. And this is like the separation of the syllabs of Satnam, yeah? Satnam. I write the long line on top of the A because that A is long. I already talked about the importance of short and long letters. So this is in another video, in a video where I was talking about the meaning on Guru. In that video, I go in depth on why a shorter vowel is different from a longer vowel. Because we are studying vowels today, let's see it a little bit more in detail here. So if we separate these sounds as Satanama, the sound of S, that would be more or less, again, I haven't properly learned how to write in Gurumukhi. I'm going to do my best. So that would be something like this. This would be Sa. And Ta. Oh, okay. So this is the letter S. Yeah, as we saw if we look at the alphabet. Let's see. It's called, when you learn in Gurumukhi, every letter is kind of repeated. So the G is Gaga, and this is Dada, and this is Sasa. So they call Sasa, but there is the letter S. So the letter S, we say Sa or Sa, yeah? So it means that any consonant implicitly has an sound. It's kind of an A, but it's not really like a Spanish A, open A. It's more like A. So that implicitly has this sound, and that's why we say it's like a short vowel. So this implicitly has a short vowel in it. And the Ta would be, let's see if I can, something like this. Sat. So the T is actually short. Yeah, if we look at this sound and we go back to the Gurumukhi alphabet, we will find that this little symbol is a symbol of a I. But this I often is used to cut the ending vowel sound very, very close. So it's Sat, Sat, T, very, very short T. And then would come Na, and then this is the one that I was referring to about being long. Okay, So I'm making it too strong now. I'm trying to correct some error drawing it. It looks too strong, but anyway. Satana. Now this one is not n. It's actually na. It's longer. And so there is this little symbol here next to it, which means it's longer sound. And then ma is again short, and then we can see this by there is no sound, like there is nothing like here like this. So this A is actually long. So that's why when we are chanting at the end of our class, Satnam, Satnam, and the Nam should be Nam, even though we want to make it short, because of the technology of it, Sa means life, and Na means it's like no, the biggest no in life is death. So even though Sa is life and Na is death, we want to make Na short and sweet. It's not short death. Sat is Sa, long life, but still this Na is a long Na, so it's Nam, yeah, Nam. It's not Nam, right? I don't know if it's clear or not, but more or less it would be like that. And so this would be the four sounds, Satnam, and that's why when Satnam we use it in this shape for the Kirtan Kriya, for example, when we are doing this mudra, then these are the four sounds that we can use. But this also explains why sometimes when you hear in a song the artist is more creative with the sound, they can choose to make it more explicit or less, those sounds. So Japamana Satanam Sada Satanam, sometimes it will be like this, Nam, and sometimes Nam, sometimes you will hear Nam, Sat, Nam, or Hare, or Hara, 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 Hara. So it's a bit more, there is some artistic flexibility there because any vowel is implicit with any consonant. Now the vowels that are at the end of the words, it's not that they are going to necessarily change the meaning, because very often, well, Sanskrit is a language that declines the verbs, very much like other European languages, also has this. So that means that we can find the same root of the word, like nama. We were just talking about this one, so let's take it. And we will find different variations of it, like Om Namo, right? Namo is like an O at the end. Why is that? But it's just a different declination. And we will find it also in the other mantra that we use at the opening of the class, the Mangalacharna. We say Ad Guru Namaha, Namaha. And that's actually written with an H at the end. It also has this Ha sound. And Ha is very, very particular. Ha. It's we will talk about Ha more specifically when we go probably next video on these semivowels, because Ha is a very special sound. But yeah, it's not just like Nama. It's not Namo. It's Namaha. So Nam would be this identity or this calling, and then the declination would vary depending on the mantra. So that's it. Now, let me read a little passage of what Aurobindo said about vowels, because he studied languages, he studied so many things, but he has a very nice comment on vowels themselves, and I would just like to point it out here. He said, vowels indicate primarily the idea of being, existence in some elementary aspect or modification suggested by the innate quality or guna of the sound denoting it. Yeah. Is the idea of being, existence in some elementary aspect or modification suggested by the innate quality or guna in the sound denoting it. Yeah, the gunas are the sattva, raja, tamas, yeah, and they are going to be present in the vowels and the consonants and the sounds that we make. But the vowels are primarily the idea of being, existing, yeah? So they bring the life. they bring life, like I was saying, no, they are the life givers to the sounds. While consonants are going to be different, we will see this. Now, the name for vowel, to say vowel in Sanskrit, is matrika, which is literally like mother. Like the mother is the one who gives life to a baby, right? So the very word vowel is the life giver, is mother, matrika. So it's a very feminine attribution to sound. And so there is, the different vowels are associated to female deities in India. But yeah, so the consonants would be associated to male principles and male structure. And we will see more about this when we get to consonants. But we see already how from the one God, the Konkarya, as God is dividing into two in order to create creation, inevitably these two aspects appear, and you can call them yin and yang, you can call them masculine and feminine, or positive and negative, masculine principle, negative principle, doesn't matter, Shiva, Shakti. And this is even contained within our words. The words themselves contains everything, and as you divide the words and you separate the aspects and the different sounds, you can identify these vowels as female sounds and these consonants as male sounds, and in between the two, that's the semivowels. And you know, if you are thinking of our back and the two channels, Ida and Pingala, and then there's two channels, positive and negative, masculine and feminine, and then in the middle of these two there is Shushumna. Yeah, which already Shushumna, you can hear some sibilant sounds. We will talk about sibilants in another video. I'm just trying to create links to what's coming after, but also to create expectations. So you may want to watch the next video. But also this semi-vowel being in between, that's talking about Shushumna. We will see about this on the next video. So let's go back to vowels. All right. Let's enter into vowels, the feminine sounds, the feminine part of sound making. Now, there is a Western understanding of vowels is nicely reflected in a diagram, which is called, this is called the Bell's model. And it's generally drawn like this. This is in a slope, yeah, on purpose. This is flat. It's more like this. And here the different vowels are placed, like the A and the U. And here's the E. This is a slightly different, and the E would be here, the O would be here. And then there is other sounds, yeah. I don't know how it's written this exactly. There is a number of different vowels all placed within this, because some languages have a lot of vowels, and I'm thinking Spanish is really very straightforward. We have A, E, I, O, U. That's it. We have 5. But if we hear Catalan or English or Portuguese, they have different other different sounds, but they are all characterized by this model. And now this model, what is showing is the shape of the mouth. And now I have here another diagram. This is from a website which studies. I will put the link to the website where you can find this diagram down in the comment section of this video. But here is the diagram. This is the Bell model. These drawings have been made by tracing X-rays of people speaking, so they are very accurate. And this is the position of the tongue. You can see this is a tongue, and you can see this is Bell's model that I was just drawing with the A, E, and it means that the tongue is moving forward towards this position for the pronunciation of E. And the U is when the tongue is moving up, vertically up, more like this shape, you see, with the dotted shape. That's the U. And the dashed shape is the E. In order to go towards the E, you pass through the E. In order to get to the U, you pass through the O. Ow, ow, yeah. And the O and the E, in this website, they are the sandy reflexes between A and E and between A and U. Interesting that they use this term sandy because that's coming from Sanskrit samadhi. Samadhi is the union, right? So these sounds, E and O, are the samadhi between A and E and A and U. Interesting. So the way the tongue is moving in our mouth, that's determining what kind of sound we are creating. So if you try to bring the sound I, bring the tongue forward, let's try it together. I. It's very much like saying I am, yeah? I, me, yeah? I, and the tongue, I. Pay attention to what the tongue is doing inside the mouth. I. So it's going forward. And that's interesting, yeah? We will come back to that in a moment. Try ow. Ow, ow. The tongue is raising upwards. Ow, ow, ow. And that's similar to the sound aum. Yeah, the om. The om that is sometimes we write it like u, m, yeah? This is the om, yeah? That, it's making a vertical ascension of the sound. And I, like I am, yeah? It's making actually horizontal projection. It's forward horizontally. And that's very significant because to be in this horizontal plane is to be engaged in this mortal existence, in this mortal world. You could even say that you are like trapped in Maya when you are I, me, yeah? It's ego, yeah? While chanting the Om, and we will see another section, another moment, how similar Om and Ong is, but we will come back to that. That's vertical. Om, Ong. When we're chanting Ong as well, Ong, that's a vertical sound, which means you are aligning your spine, which means the Kundalini wants to raise, and you're connecting to the 10th gate. So that's a much more spiritual alignment. This is human. This is more, not human, but more even like ego projection, and this is more like a vertical alignment. So all that is already within the pronunciation of the sounds. Now, taking the opportunity of talking about this alignment, let's do this, talk a little bit about projection, because I mentioned in the other video how there is 3 pillars that maximize our benefits from mantras, and that would be the projection, pronunciation, and rhythm. Excuse me. And I talked a little bit about rhythm, the importance of rhythm, like that. How was that? The shaman in an African tribe, like using a drum to remove the fever from a boy. Well, okay, that's about rhythm. Let's talk about projection for a moment. In mantras, we want to chant, not sing. And when we chant, we want to create a projection that is creating this vertical alignment within us. No matter which vowel we are doing, no matter which sound we are doing, we want to create this vertical alignment. So even though the tongue may be moving and whatever is happening, the projection of the sound, we wanted to follow this vertical alignment. So the ideal way to do this is by a few details, a few things that have to happen in our body, and let's go over them. So one of them is the vertical position of your spine, how vertical you are. That's going to help your projection. Even I remember there is some opera, and they were talking about how there is a scene in the opera when, I don't know if it's the the man or the woman in the opera, but is laying down on a bed and is starting to sing. I cannot even remember the scene. Yeah, I cannot remember right now the scene. What was it? I have the image of the opera, but I cannot remember which scene what it was from which opera. But anyway, laying down and trying to chant is really hard. It's really difficult to get the pressure that you want to project the sound properly. And you can try that, laying down and try to chant the mantras. And as we chant, we want the projection of the air to go upwards through the, kind of like, imagine that the sound is vibration like prana and like kundalini, and you want to bring it from the root of your spine to the top of the head. And you would do that by aligning yourself and also by Jalandhara Bandha. And it's very interesting. Going back to opera, they use technique, a lot of technique to project the sound. And you will see opera singers, they will be maybe, doing these gestures when they are singing, but they do, oh, yeah, oh. They don't do, oh, yeah, they, oh. So they are doing this Jalandhara Bandha, oh, yeah, for the singing, you can notice. And that's because that maximizes the opening of the throat and increases the airflow, and then you have a higher, stronger projection. So we want to create this airflow, and the airflow starts from the bottom, even from the pelvic floor. So the Mula Bandha is active and not completely blocked, but active. And that pressure starting from that, which is already like a diaphragm, the first diaphragm, and then going back to the actual diaphragm that we have underneath our lungs, that's the pressure that we want to hold. And the intercostal muscles are creating an opening in your chest, and those are not pressing down to project the air. So it's not like, oh, but it's actually holding it, oh, and pressing inwards from the navel and the diaphragm, going upwards, pressing the lungs up, rather than pressing from the sides. If you find yourself pressing from the sides, you're going to find yourself losing pressure. If the air loses pressure, you're going to run out of air. And when you are holding long sounds, like when we are tuning in, Om Namo Gurudev, you should be able to hold it. If the pressure does not come in the right way, I'm out of air. What am I doing now? I was pressing from the sides, and I was making the sound come from the inside to the mouth and out, rather than. So the difference is, rather than projecting the sound forward, which would be more like chanting, like singing, we want to create a chanting that is like vertical, and well, that's probably good singers, somebody who has gone through training in singing, they will say, well, it's not different. You say singing and chanting like two different things, but we singers use the same method to project the sound, no? They talk about the mask and how to project the sound forward. That's another thing, but let's just focus. The way, when we are chanting mantras, the idea is you want the sound to go through the spine, up all the way, through the back of your head, towards the top of your head, and then coming down towards the third eye and projecting the sound like 60 degrees up, forward. So, Om Namo. That is the projection that we want. And not, this is directly to the mouth. I'm losing air pressure, and we are not having the right projection. So creating this sound, just very much like the idea of this ow that we were seeing with the vowels, this very same idea with the sound, that's going to help for the right projection of the sound. All right, I hope you could experiment a little bit as I was doing it. Otherwise, pause the video and try yourself. Try horizontal sound, vertical sound. And you will notice that actually many Indian singers of mantras, they are very nasal. You will hear very many voices, even like very female voices, women singing, but very nasal. Om Bhurbuva Swaha Tatsavitura Varenyam Bhargo Deva. And it's like very nasal. And if you're not used to it, it may look a little bit like, what's happening here? And that's because they are creating this vertical alignment to project the sound and let it come down and then forward from the third eye. And that creates a lot of resonance in the nose, in the nasal cavity. They use that cavity as well. We have the nasal cavity, the mouth, we have the throat, we have the lungs, the whole head is a cavity as well. There is so many areas of resonance that they are used to chanting. But anyway, this movement of the projection of the sound, that's very much connected also to the microcosmic orbit. And I talked about this in another video where I talk about how there is energy passing through the back of the body, through the front of the body. They are not totally connected, following some Chinese medicine. This is a video on the Kechari Mudra, and it's something related to the Kundalini Upanishad. So if you're interested about that, you can go watch the video on the Kundalini Upanishad, and I will talk about this microcosmic orbit, which is very similar to what we are doing with this projection of the sound. Yeah, we are focusing on this channel. Anyway, now that we've gone through this, let us just try for a moment how the 6 times 2 sounds, the 12 sounds, are chanted in the Sanskrit alphabet. Let's go back here. Or no, rather, let's use this one that I have. And you can try chanting with me just to explore the feeling of these sounds. And when you are chanting this, now, I mentioned before that every sound affects a different part of the body. The consonants are going to be affecting different organs and stuff. The vowels are considered to be vibrating in the head and the brain. So when you are chanting, when you inhale, imagine that you're inhaling into the space of the head and let that vibration resound, let the sound resonate in the head. So when you are chanting, focus on this area and have a feeling of what is happening when you are chanting these sounds. Focusing on the head, but remember alignment, vertical spine, Jalandhara Bandha, Mula Bandha, and applying the diaphragm, using the diaphragm, like if you were going to do Uddiyana Bandha, using it to project the sound and to increase the pressure of the air. So let's try that. Inhale deep. A, I, e, I, o, au, a. A, I, e, I, o, au, a. A, I, I, o, au, a. I, I, o, au, a. One more time. A, I, I, o, au, a. I, I, o, au, a. Inhale deep. Close your eyes, feel the vibration in your head. And exhale. I hope you had a chance to chant it and feel just 3 times. I could already feel the tingling, yeah, in the whole space of the head, and I hope you had a chance to explore it as well. This is the way the Sanskrit alphabet, the vowels of it are chanted, and the Sanskrit alphabet is like a mantra, and it's actually considered sacred. So this would be, it's not just like a warm-up. It's not just like doing this with the, with the hands, and like this with the fingers. We are doing that with the sound. Yes, we are doing that as well, but it's even bigger than a warm-up. This is really like a practice, like a kriya by itself. And the Sanskrit alphabet would be chanted, the whole of it, like something sacred that is being, meditated upon, and it's like a meditation. This one I learned from Masmare, who I already mentioned in the last video, and I will put a link to his website below in case anybody wants to go deeper into the chanting of the alphabet. And I believe he has some recordings of himself recording how to chant this alphabet in detail. Okay, so this was about chanting the vowels. What do the vowels mean, and what effect do they have on us? As I said, they vibrate in the brain and the head in general, but then the exact meaning of every sound, that's not very well defined. Actually, I haven't found in at least in the literature on the Sanskrit alphabet, I haven't found any particular description where it says the sound A creates this, this, and this, and the E makes this, this, and that, and the E and the O. That's something yet to be explored. Now, I know of some things are already associated from our culture and different cultures to different sounds. So if we think about the A, we use the A in many ways. We use the A like surprise and wonder, or like, oh no, right? Like something bad has happened, yeah? Like a relaxed, We don't say, ee, no, we say, right? So, is something about relax, but something about wonder as well. There's always this kind of polarity between the different sounds. We have like like asking for confirmation. And we have like you, okay, you, pointing to you, right? To touch you personally. We have I'm thinking about Japanese now. In Japan, "I" is like something nice, something good. "I ne," dirán, oh, it's good, isn't it? No, it's "I" is like good. "I." Yeah, so the different cultures may have different understanding of these sounds, but it's very interesting how they are used anyway. Oh, oh, incredible! Something that you didn't know, something surprising. Oh, like fear, like afraid, yeah, something that is what's happening, yeah. And the "oo" could be something like "ooh," like we use in Halloween, like a phantom, yeah, scaring you. And "ooh," like, oh, cuidado, be careful, right? "Ooh," like, I'm not sure about this, what's happening? So we use these vowel sounds in many ways. I was thinking also how interesting in this, there is a language in Ireland, Celtic Irish. Language is called Ogham. I'm not sure whether I'm pronouncing the word of the Ogham correctly, but this it's a very particular language that was used by Druids and Celtic Druids almost 2,000 years ago, and they were like making symbols. And there is like 20 symbols, and every symbol for one letter, and every letter is associated to a tree. So it's like a very natural language. And they would be used to codify some teachings and also messages, like secret messages, so that nobody else understood, only those druids who could speak the language. And every letter has a particular symbol or a particular tree associated to it. So, for example, if looking at the letter A, it would has a, I think this is the symbol, and it would be, I think it's called alum. I think it's pronounced alum, but it's elm, and it's the elm tree. That's interesting. I think it would be very interesting if anybody watching this video, if you do speak the language, if you know this tree language of Ireland, I'm very interested to know how do you associate these qualities of every tree to every sound, and how do you apply it? How do you refer to it? How do you use it? The only thing I did today was just to check in, there's a website, a very nice website, put the link as well below, on every one of these sounds and the trees associated, so that we can see if the qualities of the tree are probably saying something about the sound. You know, an elm tree is a very tall tree, something that gives you a lot of height, and from it you can see very far away. It's very flexible. So you don't use it really for construction, you use it for example, making boats. I saw this from this website, I will put the link below, yeah? And because it withstands the water very well. So that's very, very interesting, that it withstands water, and you would use it to make boats, and it has this height associated to it. Now let's take these qualities and let's explore. Now let's try to understand the meaning of a mantra, but only considering the vowels. So the mantra I'm going to take now, we talked about Satanam before, so this is the second more important mantra we have in Kundalini Yoga and in Sikhism, and it would be Waheguru, yeah, and it would be like that. And if you wrote it in Gurumukhi, I'm gonna attempt to do that. Let's see my Gurumukhi drawing and writing, how it comes out. It would be something like this, like that. He. So this is too long. I made it too long. It should be a bit shorter. It was very much like this, like the A, long A for na. So this would be wa, yeah, a long wa. I made this little stick too long. I got excited. Okay, he is funny because the symbol is almost like the jota in Spanish, which is h. So he is the same symbol we use in Spanish. That's how I remember it. But in this case, wah is like a very short he. So you have this little symbol to make it short, sort of like what we do in sat, making it short as well. And guru, the gu would be this. Now this one is long, not like this one. This was a mistake. And in order to become a u, it has this symbol below. And the ru is the same symbol for the r, but only the first one. The second one is not. And ru would be long. So this is va, guru, gu. Gu is short, ru long. Vaheguru. Okay, so let's take these vowels. He or I could be very short, and u, yeah, and wa. I remember there is a video by Yogi Bhajan talking about the meaning of this mantra. I believe it's from a meditation talking about the Sudarshan Chakra Kriya. And he talks about how wa is the sound of water. Wa. Yeah. How when you're pouring water into a glass, wa. So there is this wa sound. And wa means wonder. Wow, incredible, yeah? So let's talk about this elm tree, tall and height, yeah? Wa is the wonder of this finding something really, really incredible. Waheguru. So it's creating this height, but also interesting that the elm tree is very, it withstands water, it resists water, and that's why we use it to make boats. So Waheguru is the sound of water, wa. And also linked to the second chakra, wa. The second chakra is associated to water, and we will see how the sound, the W sound, which is you can write it like W or a V sometimes. This is linked to the as a semivowel, which is associated to the second chakra, which is the water. So we're talking about the water element, but also Wahuru, this wonder, this height, Wahuru. This is the elm tree. Interesting, eh? Only for the Wah. You would find it in Vayanti, Karyanti. Yeah, in the mantra Vayanti, Karyanti. Wah. So that would be the And then He is hey, you. Be touched by this wonder. You, be touched. Why? And then Guru, one short U and one long U. One of the U's is like... Ooh, yeah, like a little in Halloween I was mentioning before, like there is a ghost, yeah? There is a ghost. Ooh, if you're gonna go into a basement or a cave, it's dark and there could be ghosts in it. It's mysterious, it's dark, and you could be scared. Ooh, yeah? Remember, Gu is the darkness. Yeah, I have another video on this darkness and light, yeah? So U is darkness. So, yeah, the darkness, and that's the U. And then the other U, is like, there is a, something wonderful, delight. There is something delightful, yeah? It's interesting, the word delight, with light, eh? It's in delight. So we have the short U of the darkness and the mystery and the scary and something maybe dangerous, and the delight of finding the light in that darkness. And that should touch you personally and bring you to the heights and get this watery is second chakra, is also sexuality, but Kundalini is a sexual energy, and get that energy up and delight in the raising of this energy. Waheguru. Let's try chant it a few times with this in being present in our consciousness, yeah? Waheguru. Inhale. Waheguru, 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 Waheguru ji ka khalsa, Waheguru ji ki fateh. All right. Well, I hope it was interesting and bringing some light, bringing something, maybe something new for you, hopefully. And vowels, all that, just about the vowels. And we have only just started. And in the next video, we're going to go into the semivowels, which are fascinating. And we'll talk about bija mantras and bija sounds, and then following ones we will see the consonants. But for now, this is enough for the next chapter in this course on mantras. If you liked it, please click the like. It doesn't take you too long to click on the little button. And if you haven't subscribed, I encourage you to do it. Hit the bell so that when I produce the next video, you receive it and you receive an email telling you that the next video is ready. And any comment, any question, anything that you want to ask, anything you want to comment, if you know about this tree language in Ireland, if you have studied vowels from a different perspective, from a different tradition. I know this in the Japanese tradition, the vowels also have some special significance, and there is a special significance to every vowel. And the Japanese alphabet is also like a syllabic alphabet, similar to the Sanskrit. So if you have studied that, I would be very much interested in that. So please share it, put it in the comments below, or just send me a private message. But I prefer you do it in the comments so that we can all benefit from whatever you know. Let's share it. Let's share it in the community, and let's continue growing in wisdom. For now, thank you very much, and until next time, Sat Nam.